The sun climbed steadily across the wide morning sky, casting a warm glow over the open field where Lena trained every day. The field stretched far beyond the last row of houses in her village, ending at a line of tall trees that formed the beginning of the deep forest. Birds sang lightly above the branches as the wind moved through the grass. To anyone passing by, the field looked peaceful. Almost too peaceful for the tension that filled Lena's heart. Lena stood with her wooden spear resting against her shoulder. She was young but skilled, known in her village for her steady posture and clear mind. She practiced each movement slowly and carefully. She had learned from her grandfather that control mattered more than strength. Her grandfather had been the guardian of their village for many years before age finally made him step back. When he could no longer hold the spear, he gave it to Lena. It was old, but strong. Carved from solid wood and polished through decades of use, every morning she walked to this field to practice. It made her feel closer to him. Even though he was no longer able to stand beside her, she held his lessons in her mind. Keep your balance. Watch everything around you. Move with intention. Lena repeated these words while she trained. The quiet air, however, did not soothe her today. There was an unusual heaviness in the atmosphere. The animals in the forest had been restless for days. Birds flew higher than usual. Rabbits did not come close to the fields. Even the tall grass seemed uneasy, swaying more than the wind alone could cause. Lena sensed something was changing. She could not explain it, but she had felt it since sunrise. She had planned to practice longer, but she kept stopping, turning her head toward the forest as if something inside was calling her attention. She told herself to focus, yet her grip tightened around the spear as she took a step forward for her next movement. The birds suddenly stopped singing. The entire forest grew quiet, as if listening for something. Lena drew in a breath and slowly lowered her spear, eyes fixed on the shadows between the trees. She had seen the forest fall silent before, but never for this long. Silence usually meant something was watching. She stepped back once, grounding her feet firmly. Her heart beat fast, but she kept her breathing steady the way her grandfather had taught her. Whatever was approaching, she would face it. A heavy sound broke the quiet, like something large pushing through branches. Lena did not blink. Another sound followed, then another. Something was moving closer, and it was not small. The tall grass near the tree line shifted. Lena held her spear in both hands, ready to defend herself. She wished for help, but she knew the village was too far to call anyone in time. She stood alone, surrounded only by the still air and the faint warmth of the sun. The first creature stepped out of the trees. It stood taller than any person Lena had ever seen. Its gray skin looked thick like old stone. Its eyes were wide and dark, but there was no anger in them, only a quiet, unreadable focus. It took a slow step forward, and the ground trembled softly under its weight. Lena held her spear tighter. Then a second creature stepped out. Then a third. More shapes moved behind them until a full group walked into the open field. Lena counted 8 in total. They were the creatures that travelers had spoken about for years. They lived deep inside the forest and rarely came near human land. They stayed to themselves unless pushed away from their homes by hunger or danger. No one knew their true intentions, but they were known for chasing away anyone who wandered too close. Lena had never seen one this close. And now she stood in front of 8. The creatures spread out across the field, forming a slow half-circle around her. Lena stepped back carefully, trying not to show fear. She did not want to provoke them. But they continued to move until the half-circle closed behind her. The full ring locked in place, trapping her inside. Lena forced herself to breathe slowly. She remembered her grandfather's voice. Do not lose your center. Use your surroundings. Trust your senses. She looked from one creature to another, searching for any sign of their intention. They did not raise their arms or growl. They simply stood there with a silent, heavy presence. The leader stepped forward. It was the tallest of them, with broad shoulders and deep lines carved across its face, as if shaped by many years of wind and stone. Its shadow stretched long across the grass. Lena shifted her stance, bringing her spear to her side. She did not want to fight. She did not even know if they wanted to fight, but they had surrounded her, and she had no space left to move. She would defend herself if needed. The leader stopped a few steps in front of her. Its eyes stayed fixed on hers. Lena could not read its expression. She felt like she was looking into a quiet lake that hid its depth beneath still water. A breeze swept across the field, carrying the scent of earth and forest. The grass rippled like waves. For a moment, nothing happened. The tension settled between them like an invisible line. Lena knew she had to do something. Standing still would not change anything. She took a steady step to the side, testing if they would allow her to move. Immediately, one of the creatures shifted, blocking her path. The ring tightened by a small but clear amount. Lena realized she had no way out. She thought of her village, her grandfather, her promise to protect the people she cared about. Her heart wanted to run, but she stood firm. She would face whatever came next. She lifted her spear in front of her chest. It was a simple wooden weapon, but carried memories and meaning. The leader watched her raise it but did not react. She considered speaking, but she doubted they would understand her words. Instead, she kept her stance controlled and ready. If she needed to break through the ring, she would aim for the smallest gap. She knew she could not outrun them, but she could attempt to slip through their reach. The leader took a slow step forward, then another. The air grew heavier around her. Lena tightened her grip. She took a step back and touched the ring behind her. Another creature shifted closer, closing the circle again. She had no more space. She had one option left. She would strike once, not to harm, but to create an opening so she could escape. She breathed in, pressing her feet firmly into the earth. She pushed forward with a burst of speed. Her light steps carried her toward the thinnest point in the circle. She swung her wooden spear with controlled force, aiming to move the creature's arm away. If she could shift it even a little, she might get through. The leader reacted faster than she expected. Its arm came down, meeting her strike with surprising precision. The impact was strong but not violent. It was as if the creature wanted to stop her without hurting her, but the force was enough. Her spear snapped in her hands. The wood split cleanly near the center. The broken tip spun through the air and landed several steps away in the grass. Lena froze for a moment. The shock of losing her only tool felt like a wave hitting her chest. She looked down at the two pieces in her hands. The spear her grandfather had trusted her with was now broken. She felt a sting in her heart, not from fear, but from the loss of something she valued deeply. The ring of creatures closed tighter. She stepped back carefully, now holding only half a spear. She knew she could not make another attempt. Without a full weapon, she had little chance of breaking through. Yet she refused to collapse or surrender. Her breath grew shallow, but she forced it steady again. She looked around once more, searching for a path, any path, but saw none. The leader stepped forward again. The ring around her shifted with it. Lena braced herself. She thought about what she could do. She thought about her choices. She thought about running, about calling for help, about standing her ground. She stood taller, tightening her hands around the broken spear. Even without a full weapon, she would not give up. The air above her moved with a strange sound. Not wind, not leaves. Something else. She heard a rush from the sky, like something cutting through air from above. The creatures paused. Lena raised her head, eyes scanning the bright blue sky. A figure was falling, not an object. A person. The shape dropped with controlled speed, arms angled to guide the descent. The figure turned once in the air with surprising grace. Lena stepped back, unsure if she should prepare to defend herself from this newcomer too. The creatures all looked upward as well. The air trembled with the sound of the fall. Lena held the broken spear close to her body. The figure came closer, descending swiftly through the sky. And then, with a strong but steady impact, he landed between Lena and the approaching leader, standing firmly on the ground, as if he had stepped off a tall stone rather than fallen from the open sky. The ground still shivered from the stranger's landing. A thin cloud of dust rose around his feet before drifting away in the quiet air. Lena stared at him with wide eyes. unable to understand how a human could fall from the sky and stand as calmly as if he had stepped off a small rock. The creatures around her also paused. Their heavy shoulders lifted slightly as they tried to understand what had happened. The stranger stood tall, not in a threatening way. His clothes were simple, with small tears along the sleeves that fluttered in the wind. His hair was messy, as though he had traveled through a storm. Despite the intense situation, his eyes were calm, almost gentle, as if he had arrived expecting this moment. He looked at Lena first, and his steady voice broke the silence of the field. "You look like you need help," he said. "Mind if I join you in this situation?" His tone carried no judgment, no bravado, only a quiet confidence that somehow made Lena feel safe, even though she had never seen him before. She nodded slowly, unable to find her voice yet. She still held the broken spear tightly, her breathing uneven from the shock of everything happening in such a short time. The stranger smiled lightly, then shifted his focus to the creatures surrounding them. The circle remained firm, but the creatures now watched him with slow, careful movements. They had never seen a human fall from the sky either. They seemed unsure whether he was a danger or something entirely different. The leader of the creatures stepped forward, placing itself between the group and the stranger. Its eyes narrowed as it studied him. The stranger did not step back. Instead, he raised both his hands gently, palms open, signaling peace. "It is all right," he said with a steady voice. "We do not want trouble. Let us talk. No one needs to get hurt today." Lena watched him closely. She had expected him to prepare for a fight, yet he did the opposite. His calmness created a strange ease in the air. Even the creature seemed hesitant to make another move. The leader let out a deep sound. Not aggressive, more like a warning mixed with confusion. It pointed one of its large hands toward Lena's broken spear, then toward the stranger, questioning his presence. The stranger nodded as though he understood completely. "She did not attack to harm," he said. "She only tried to escape. You surrounded her. She reacted because she thought she had no choice. You can see she only carries a wooden spear. She is here to protect her home, not to invade yours." Lena was shocked. How could he know her intentions so easily she had not spoken a single word? Yet he understood everything as if he had been watching the whole time. The creature shifted slightly. The leader lowered its arm a little, still alert but not fully hostile. The stranger took a very slow step forward, careful not to alarm them. "We can leave this field peacefully," he continued. "No one has to be your enemy." Lena could feel that the creatures were still unsure. Their heavy breathing moved through the air. Their thick arms remained ready, but they did not tighten the circle again. They watched the stranger as if weighing his words. Trying to understand his calm tone and steady stance, he continued speaking. His voice soft but powerful in a quiet way that spread easily across the open space. "I've seen fear turn misunderstandings into danger. You have your home. She has hers. Neither side must fight. I stand here only to help her. That is all." Lena finally found her voice. "I do not want to fight," she said, keeping her words firm but respectful. "I only wanted to get back to my village. I did not plan to enter your space. I am sorry if I stepped too close to your land." The leader turned its head toward her. Its deep eyes studied her expression. Her honesty carried no threat. She looked small and tired, holding only half a spear that no longer had strength. The leader stepped back with a slow, thoughtful motion. The atmosphere shifted again as the ring loosened. Lena took a breath of relief, but did not lower her guard completely. She knew one wrong step could still change the mood. The stranger remained steady between her and the creatures. His posture suggested he was ready to step forward if needed, but he did not lift his fists or prepare for a fight. He remained open, calm, and balanced. The leader gave a deep sound. Not loud, not aggressive, a sound that seemed to signal the others. The creatures looked toward each other, exchanging silent communication. Then, slowly, they stepped back, widening the circle. Lena's breath finally eased. She felt her heartbeat slow down as she realized the immediate danger was passing. The stranger smiled softly at her as if telling her everything was all right. However, the leader did not fully retreat. It stopped a few steps away and studied the stranger again. There was curiosity in its expression. It tilted its head slightly, as if asking a silent question. The stranger seemed to understand even that. "I come from far away," he said. "Not from your forest, not from her village. You may not see others like me often. But I mean no harm. I only wish to help." The leader blinked once, then twice, a slow motion that resembled thought. Finally, it gestured toward the deeper part of the forest with a sweeping motion. The gesture carried meaning. "Leave this field. Keep distance. Respect the boundary." The stranger nodded politely. "We will leave," said. The leader made one more sound, then walked back toward the trees. The others followed, their heavy steps shaking the ground slightly with each move. They disappeared into the forest one by one until the trees swallowed their shapes completely. The silence returned slowly, but this time it felt lighter, almost peaceful. Lena watched until the last creature vanished. Then she let out a long breath she did not realize she had been holding. Her shoulders finally relaxed. She looked down at her broken spear, sadness covering her face. The spear had been more than a tool. It was a memory of her grandfather, a symbol of her promise to protect her village. While she stared at the broken wood, the stranger stepped beside her. "You held your ground well," he said. "You protected yourself with everything you had." She looked at him with mixed feelings. Gratitude, curiosity, and lingering fear all tangled inside her. He had appeared out of the sky at the perfect moment. He had spoken calmly to creatures that most people only feared. It felt impossible, yet he stood in front of her, real and steady. "Thank you," Lena said quietly. "But I still do not understand how you came from the sky." The stranger chuckled softly. "That part is complicated," he replied. "But I promise I will explain." He looked toward the forest again, making sure the creatures had truly left. Then he knelt to pick up the broken tip of her spear from the grass. He examined it gently, turning it in his hand as if studying its history. "This is old wood," he said. "It has been used for many years. It belonged to my grandfather," Lena said. "He trusted me with it." Stranger nodded with respect. "We can repair it," he said. "Not exactly as it was, but close enough to keep its meaning." Lena felt something warm inside her chest. No one had ever offered to fix the spear before. Most people would have told her to make a new one. But he understood its importance. "Who are you?" she asked. He looked at her for a long moment, as if deciding how much he should reveal. His expression softened. "My name is Rion," he said. "I travel from place to place. Sometimes I walk. Sometimes I fall from heights I cannot explain easily. But I always try to help when I can." Lena's eyes widened slightly. "Do you always arrive this way?" she asked. Rion laughed softly. "Not always. Today was unusual even for me." She looked at him, still trying to make sense of him. He seemed human, yet something about him felt different. His calm presence, his strange arrival, and the way he communicated with the creatures made her believe he had experienced things beyond her. "Understanding why did you help me?" she asked. Rion stood straight again and looked toward the forest with a thoughtful gaze. "Because you stood alone," he said. "Because you held your ground even when fear tried to push you down. And because no one deserves to face danger without support." Lena felt a small warmth rise in her chest. His words were simple, but full of sincerity. She had trained her whole life to be strong for others, yet she had rarely received help herself. His presence felt like a quiet reminder that even protectors sometimes needed someone beside them. Rion looked toward the village in the distance. "You should head home," he said gently. "Your people may worry." Lena looked at the village, then at him again. "Will you come with me?" she asked carefully. Rion thought for a moment, then nodded. "I will walk with you," he said. "There is still much to talk about, and we should leave this field for now." Lena nodded. She gathered the broken pieces of her spear and held them close. Together they began walking toward the village, the quiet air following behind them. As they walked side by side, Lena knew one thing clearly. Her life had changed today. The arrival of this strange traveler would lead her to a path she had never imagined. And though she did not know where it would lead, She felt ready to face it with steady steps. The field behind them returned to calm silence, holding the memory of a moment when a broken spear, a circle of creatures, and a stranger from the sky had crossed paths in a way no one could have predicted. Lena and Rian walked side by side along the dirt path that led toward the village. The air felt lighter now that the creatures had returned to the forest. Still, Lena looked over her shoulder more than once, half expecting them to reappear. Even though they had shown restraint, the memory of being surrounded stayed in her mind. She held both pieces of her broken spear close against her chest, as if protecting a sleeping memory. Rian walked calmly, his steps steady and relaxed. His presence brought a strange comfort, yet Lena still struggled to understand how he had arrived. Every time she tried to picture the moment he fell from the sky, her mind filled with questions. The path curved gently through patches of tall grass. Birds returned to their songs, hopping from branch to branch. Sunlight shone through the thin clouds above, giving the field a warm glow. Lena glanced at Rian again. He did not seem tired from the fall. His breathing was even. His eyes remained focused forward. It was as if dropping from the sky was something ordinary for him. They walked silently for a while until Lena found the courage to ask the question she had been holding inside. "How did you reach the field from so high in the sky?" she asked. "Did you jump from a cliff?" Rian smiled lightly. "No," he said. "There was no cliff. I simply arrived."
"Arrived from where?"
Lena asked carefully. Rian slowed his steps a little. His expression did not turn dark or secretive, but thoughtful, as if he needed to choose the right words. "It is not easy to explain," he said. "I travel in ways that most people do not understand. Sometimes I walk like anyone else. Sometimes I climb mountains or cross rivers. But there are moments when I appear in a new place without using any path at all." Lena tried to understand. It made no sense. Yet he did not speak like someone making tales. His expression stayed sincere. "Does it happen by choice?" she asked. "Sometimes," Rian said. "Sometimes not. Today, it was not planned. I was somewhere else, thinking about my next journey, and then everything shifted. When I looked again, I was falling toward your field." Lena's eyes widened. "So you did not expect to land there, no?" he said with a soft laugh. "I did not expect it. But I am glad I arrived when I did." Lena lowered her eyes to the broken spear. She still felt the disappointment of losing something precious. But Rian's calm voice eased the weight a little. "Were you scared when you fell?" she asked. Rian shook his head gently. "I have experienced it before," he replied. "It is strange at first, but I have learned to land safely." Lena nodded slowly. Even though she could not fully understand his words, she believed him. His hands had been steady. His posture had shown no fear. He had stood between her and the creatures without a moment of hesitation. They reached a small hill on the path. From the top, they could see the roofs of the village houses in the distance. Smoke rose from a few chimneys as families cooked their midday meals. The sight of the village made Lena feel lighter. She had left home only to practice, not expecting danger or a strange arrival from the sky. Now she was returning with a traveler who had changed her day completely. Rian paused at the top of the hill and looked across the land. His eyes softened as he took in the peaceful scene. "This is a beautiful place," he said. "Calm and bright," as Lena replied. "I have lived here since I was a child. My grandfather used to bring me outside the village to practice with the spear. He said this land must be protected, and we must stay patient and wise." Rian nodded with respect. "Your grandfather sounds like a strong person," he said. "His lessons shaped you well. I could see your courage today." Lena felt heat rise in her cheeks. Compliments were rare for her. Most people only told her to be careful or to train harder. Hearing Rian's words felt strange and warm. She changed the subject. "Quickly, do you know why the creatures came close to the field today?" she asked. Rian looked toward the forest behind them. "I have seen creatures like them before," he said. "They usually stay deep inside their lands. If they move closer to human paths, it often means something inside their home has changed. They may feel unsettled or unsafe. Lena tightened her grip on the spear pieces. Do you think something is happening in the forest? It is possible, Rian said. There may be something unusual. Or they may simply be moving to find new space. But their behavior showed caution, not anger. That means they did not come to harm you. Lena remembered how the leader looked at her broken spear, not with rage, but with concern mixed with curiosity. They broke my spear, she said softly. Yes. Rian replied gently, but they did not strike you. They used only enough strength to stop you, not enough to cause harm. That tells me they were trying to communicate in their own way. They wanted you to stay in place so they could understand your presence. Lena had not seen it that way before. She had been too focused on fear. Now she thought back to the moment and realized Rian was right. The leader had been measured, not aggressive. They still frighten me, Lena said. That is natural, Rian responded. Any person would feel the same. But you stayed calm. You kept your posture. That is not easy to do. Lena looked ahead again. She felt stronger hearing that, even though her spear was broken. They continued walking down the hill. The path became narrower as they approached the village. Wooden fences lined the sides, holding goats and chickens. A few children ran between the houses, chasing each other with laughter. When they noticed Lena, they waved happily. When they noticed Rian, their steps slowed with curiosity. Who is he? One of the children called out. A traveler, Lena answered with a small smile. He is visiting. The children nodded but kept their distance. They did not approach Rian, but their eyes followed him with interest. Rian smiled warmly at them before looking at Lena again. They seem kind, he said. They are, Lena replied. Everyone here looks after one another. My grandfather always said that a village grows strong when every person respects the others. The quiet rhythm of village life surrounded them as they walked deeper into the center. Women carrying baskets of herbs moved between houses. A group of older men sat under a shaded tree, discussing the weather. The warm smell of food drifted through the air. Lena felt safe again. The memory of the field's tension faded little by little. She led Rian toward her home. It's a small wooden house with a porch and a few clay pots near the entrance. Flowers grew along the side, planted by her grandfather long ago. The house was simple but full of warmth. You can rest here, Lena said. My grandfather is inside. He will want to meet you. Rian nodded respectfully. I would be honored, he said, before entering. Lena stopped and looked at the broken spear in her hands. She hesitated and spoke softly. Do you truly think it can be repaired? Rian looked at the wood carefully. Yes, he said. I cannot make it exactly as before, but I can help you restore its strength. The meaning will remain. Lena smiled gently. Her grandfather had always told her that tools could be fixed, but memories needed gentle care. Hearing Rian speak with the same understanding made her heart warm. They stepped onto the porch. Lena pushed open the door, and warm air drifted out. Inside, her grandfather sat near the window, carving a piece of wood with slow, careful hands. His hair was white, and deep lines shaped his peaceful face. When he saw Lena, he smiled. But his eyes widened when he noticed Rian beside her. Who is this young man? Her grandfather asked in a calm tone. A traveler, Lena said. His name is Rian. He saved me today. Her grandfather placed the carving tool gently on the table. He studied Rian with sharp, thoughtful eyes. Even though age had weakened his body, his mind remained precise. Saved you, he repeated. Something happened in the field. Lena nodded. She knelt beside him and told him everything. She spoke of the creatures, the circle, the broken spear, and the moment Rian landed. She tried to describe Rian's calmness and the way he spoke to the creatures. Her grandfather listened without interrupting, his expression serious but not fearful. When she finished, he looked at Rian with curiosity. You spoke calmly to the creatures, her grandfather said. Few people can do that without fear. I do not seek conflict, Rian replied. I only wanted to help her. Her grandfather nodded slowly. You did well, he said. This village values peace. Anyone who protects without anger is welcome here. Rian bowed his head slightly in respect. Lena placed the broken spear on the table. Her grandfather's eyes softened with sadness when he saw it. "It served for many years," said. "I want to repair it," Lena said. "With Rion's help," her grandfather smiled. "Then you should," he said. "The meaning of a tool grows stronger when it is repaired with care." Rion reached for the spear pieces and held them in his hands. "We will fix it," he promised. "But we will need the right wood and the right method." Her grandfather nodded. "I know a place," he said. "A small grove near the river. The trees there grow strong and straight. Their branches bend without breaking. That would conjoin the broken parts." Lena felt excitement build inside her. "Can we go tomorrow?" she asked. Her grandfather nodded again. "It is a short walk." "I will show you the way," Rion smiled. "I will join you," he said. Lena felt a new sense of purpose rising inside her. The spear could be restored. The forest still held mysteries, and Rion's arrival had opened a door to paths she had never imagined. Mira woke early the next morning. The sky was pale, and a soft wind moved across the valley. She looked around and saw Aaron sitting by a flat stone near the river. He was holding the silver device and studying it with full focus. His face was calm, but his eyes carried a deep question that he still could not answer. Mira walked to him with slow steps and sat on the grass. Aaron smiled. Myra smiled back. There was peace between them now. No fear and no doubt. They had started as strangers, then became allies. And now something like quiet friends. Mira pointed at the device and asked what he planned to do. Aaron said he did not fully know. The thing still made a soft pulse of light whenever he touched the center. He said that the device was linked to the place he came from. It was more than a tool. It was a beacon. If anyone from his world was searching for him, they might find him through this object. Mira knew this could bring danger, but she also knew Aaron was honest. He had never hidden anything from her. She asked if he wanted to return to his world. Aaron looked up at the sunrise. He said he missed his people, but something in him also cared about this land now. He wanted to see Mira's home safe. He wanted to understand why he was brought here. He wanted to know if this world needed him. Mira felt a warm spark in her heart. She liked hearing that. They planned to meet Elder Soren again. He might know more about the device or the strange events that brought Aaron here. So they packed fruits, some water, and a few simple tools, then started walking toward the village. Birds called from the tall trees, and sunlight fell through the leaves like soft threads. When they reached the village gate, children ran to greet Mira. They liked Aaron now, too, because he told them stories about the sky and the stars. Mira and Aaron moved through the busy paths until they reached Elder Soren's small home. The old man welcomed them inside with kindness. Aaron placed the silver device on the table. Elder Soren examined it with careful hands. After some time, he said that the object held a call inside it. It was reaching out to something far away. Not evil, not harmful, just reaching. He also said that the land had been changing for many months. Strange lights in the sky. Strange sounds in the night. Strange shadows near the mountains. Aaron's arrival was not random. Something had invited him or opened a path. Mira asked who would do such a thing. Elder Soren shook his head slowly. He said the land had old guardians, older than any village. They protected balance. Sometimes they acted in ways no one could understand. Mira wondered if one of them had pulled Aaron into this world. Aaron wondered the same. Elder Soren told them to seek answers in the upper cliffs where the old stone circles stood. These circles were made long before the first village was built. They were silent, but they stored knowledge. If the land had made a call or opened a path, the circles might hold a sign. Mira and Aaron agreed to go. The journey would take a full day. They left the village before sunset. The path grew steep and the air thinner. Mira had been here once as a child, but she remembered little. Aaron supported her on the sharp slopes. The cliffs glowed orange in the late sun. High above, the stone circles stood like calm giants. By nightfall, they reached a small flat place between two ridges. They decided to rest there. Aaron built a small fire with dry branches. Mira watched the flames dance. She told stories about her childhood, about her mother's cooking, about the springs where she learned to swim. Aaron shared stories about his world. He spoke of tall buildings, bright streets, and machines that could fly. Mira listened with wide eyes and curiosity. She liked the way Aaron described everything with quiet wonder instead of pride. They slept under the sky. The stars looked close, like silver dust above them. Mira woke once in the night and saw Aaron sitting by the fire, staring at the silver device. It pulsed softly, brighter than before. She asked if he was all right. Aaron said he felt something calling him. Not a voice, just a pull. Mira placed her hand on his shoulder and told him he was not alone. At dawn, they climbed higher and finally reached the stone circles. The place felt silent in a deep way. The stones were tall, covered in moss and old marks of a forgotten language. Mira walked around one circle while Aaron stood inside another. The moment he stepped into it, the device glowed strong. The air inside the circle changed. It felt warm and alive. Aaron called Mira. She ran to him. A soft vibration rose from the ground. The stones lit with faint lines that slowly formed shapes. Mira stared at them with awe. The shapes looked like simple drawings. A circle, a falling star, a tall figure, a hand reaching out. Aaron touched one of the glowing marks. The light spread across all the stones. Mira felt no danger, only a calm force moving around them. Aaron said he felt something like a memory, but not his own. A memory of the land itself. It showed him how the balance of the valley had been disturbed. Something far away had opened a small tear in the sky. Not harmful, but unstable. The land needed someone who could walk between worlds to help close it. That someone was Aaron. Mira asked how he was supposed to do that. Aaron said he did not know yet, but the land had chosen him for a reason. The light slowly faded. The stones returned to silence. Aaron stepped back, breathing slowly. Mira stood beside him, feeling a soft weight in her chest. She wanted to protect her home. She also wanted Aaron to stay safe. She said they must return to Elder Soren and share everything. On their way down the cliffs, the sky suddenly dimmed. A thin crack of pale blue light appeared high above the valley. It looked like a line drawn across the sky by an unseen hand. Mira stopped walking. Aaron stared at it. The crack grew slightly wider, like a slow breath. Aaron felt the device warm in his hand. It was reacting to the crack. Mira asked if this was the tear the stones showed. Aaron nodded. The land was warning them. Something was happening faster than expected. They moved quickly down the slope. The wind grew stronger. The trees below bent slightly. The crack glowed with a sharp brightness, then softened again. Aaron could feel a pull inside his chest, like the world was calling his name. Mira grabbed his arm. She said she would not let him face this alone. Aaron gave a small smile. He said he was glad he had not fallen into this world without meeting her. When they reached the valley floor, people were standing outside their homes staring at the sky. Elder Soren met them near the central path. He looked worried, but calm. Aaron explained what they saw and what the stones showed. Elder Soren listened carefully. Then he said that the tear must be closed soon, or it would grow larger. Not dangerous, but it could disturb the balance of the land for a long time. Aaron said he was ready to help. Mira stood beside him, firm and steady. Elder Soren told them that the tear would open fully near the old cliffs in the evening. They would need to be there when it did. The sun slowly moved across the sky as the day passed. Mira and Aaron prepared in silence, but their hearts were full of thought. They were walking into something unknown, but they trusted each other now. As the evening came, they reached the base of the cliffs. The crack in the sky brightened again. The valley grew quiet. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Aaron stepped forward, the silver device glowing in his hand. Mira followed, her eyes steady. The light from the sky reflected in her dark hair. Aaron felt a strange calm inside him. He whispered that maybe this was why he fell into this world. Maybe this was the real reason the land brought him here. Mira nodded. She said she believed the land never made mistakes. The crack in the sky opened just a little more. A thin beam of soft blue light touched the ground before them like a path. Aaron took one slow step toward it. Mira walked beside him, ready for whatever came next, and the sky above the valley began to change. The sky above the valley slowly changed as the thin blue crack widened. It did not shake or roar. It was calm, like a slow sunrise forming in the wrong place. Aaron and Mira stood at the base of the cliffs, their shadows stretching across the ground in the pale light. The people of the village watched from a distance with quiet fear and quiet hope. Aaron held the silver device in his hand. The soft glow grew brighter with every step he took toward the beam of light that touched the ground. Mira stayed at his side. Her heart beat fast, but her voice was steady. She told Aaron that he was ready, even if he felt unsure inside. Aaron nodded. He trusted her words more than the voice inside his own head. As they moved closer to the glowing beam, the ground gave a gentle hum. It felt like the land was alive under their feet. Aaron suddenly thought about the moment he first fell into this world. The fear he felt then was nothing like what he felt now. This time he was not alone. This time he had Mira with him. The beam of light rose higher and formed a circle in the air, the same shape as the stone circles on the cliffs. Mira looked at Aaron. He looked back. There was no need for words. They stepped inside the circle. The moment they did, the silver device began to pulse like a heartbeat. The light around them thickened and softened at the same time. Aaron felt a warm pressure on his chest. Not painful, just firm. Mira felt something too. As if the air around her was guiding her to stand still and breathe slowly. Then the circle of light opened wider. Inside it, they saw a long path made of light. It reminded Mira of a river glowing in the night. Aaron said. It looked like the kind of path the machines in his world used to travel across the sky. The path moved gently, almost like it was waiting for them to follow. Elder Soren approached them slowly from behind, said the path was not dangerous. It was simply a bridge between two worlds. Aaron asked how he was supposed to close it. Elder Soren looked at the device and said it was the key, but he also said something else. The device would answer to Aaron's will. If Aaron wanted to stay in this world, he could. If Aaron wanted to return to his own world, he could. The path would follow what his heart chose. Mira turned to Aaron with a breath held in her chest. She knew that this moment would decide everything. Aaron looked at the path of light. He remembered his family, his old life, and the things he had built before falling into this strange land. He wondered if they were searching for him. He wondered if he would ever see them again, if he chose to stay. Then he looked at Mira. She stood calm, brave, and steady. He remembered how she ran into danger to save him, how she trusted him when she had no reason to. How she walked beside him without fear. He felt more seen by her than he had felt in a long time. Mira lowered her eyes slightly, afraid of what he would say. She told him that whatever choice he made, she would accept it. She said this world would be thankful for his help, even if he chose to return to the place he came from. Aaron reached for her hand. Mira looked up at him again. He said that when he first came into this world, he felt lost. With her, he had found a purpose. He said he did not know what the future held, but he knew he wanted to be part of this land now. He wanted to help the valley. He wanted to walk beside her, not only today, but through the days ahead. Mira felt something warm inside her chest. She squeezed his hand in return. Elder Soren nodded with quiet pride. Aaron had made his choice. Aaron held the silver device in both hands. The glow grew stronger, filling the air. The blue crack in the sky responded to the device, like it was listening. The path of light began to shift slowly, like it was closing itself, but waiting for Aaron to guide it. Aaron closed his eyes. He thought about the valley, the cliffs, the river, the village children, and Mira. He imagined the world as a peaceful place. He imagined the path between worlds closing in a calm way that harmed nothing. The silver device hummed softly. Then the light stretched upward like a tall pillar. Mira watched with wide eyes as the tear in the sky began to shrink. It did not snap shut. It folded in on itself gently, like a curtain being drawn. Aaron's hands were steady, his face calm. The land seemed to breathe with him. The path of light became thinner. The blue glow grew softer. The circle in the air slowly faded. When the final shimmer disappeared, The sky returned to its natural color. The clouds drifted quietly across the horizon. The valley stood silent for a long moment. Then the land gave a gentle sigh of wind, as if everything was at peace again. Aaron lowered the device. The glow had faded completely. The device was now nothing more than a smooth piece of silver with no light inside it. Aaron turned it in his hand and understood. The device had done its work. It no longer carried the pull of two worlds. It was just a memory now. Mira stepped close to him. She asked if he felt all right. Aaron said he felt lighter than he had in a long time. She smiled slowly. He smiled back. The people in the valley cheered as the sky settled. They ran to the cliffs, shouting thanks and waving at Mira and Aaron. Children jumped with joy. Even Elder Soren smiled wide, which almost never happened. When they returned to the village, everyone surrounded them. They wanted to know how the sky closed, what the light felt like, and if Aaron would stay. Aaron answered kindly. He said he would live here now. He said this land was his home too. The villagers welcomed him with warm hearts. Later that night, Mira and Aaron sat by the river. The sky was clear and full of stars. Mira asked what he planned to do now that the danger was over. Aaron said he wanted to help build new paths in the village and learn the ways of the land. He said he also wanted to explore the mountains with her when the seasons changed. Mira laughed softly and said she would like that. They watched the sky together. The stars looked brighter now. Aaron felt something peaceful in the air, something steady. Mira felt it too. The land had chosen him. Mira had trusted him, and he had chosen to stay. The night moved on with calm wind, flowing water, and two figures sitting side by side, ready for the life ahead. The story of the human who fell from the sky was now a tale of hope, not fear. It was a tale of how two worlds touched for a moment, and how two people found trust, courage, and a new path because of it.